Welcome back to the Kempire Daily YouTube channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. So I did a last minute trip. As you know, here in the States, it's about to be Labor Day weekend. And I keep telling you guys, if you listen to my podcast, I said I did not quit my corporate job to be stuck in the Kempire studio. Although I love my home and I love my studio, I have to be able to get out and get a break. And if you know me, this has been an interesting week. And I was like, you know what? Let me get away. So I did get away. I'll talk about where I went. It's nowhere fancy. It's nowhere, it's somewhere comfortable, homey. And I'm glad to be away from the New York City. And look, sometimes you just got to do that. But as you also know, no matter where I am, you're still getting content. And I have to say, I want to briefly talk about the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. I didn't think it was worth doing a separate video talking about it. But since we're talking about the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, we can briefly talk about the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. So as you know, yesterday, the trailer for season 3 dropped. And I've seen mixed opinions. I saw a lot of people didn't even notice that Mary Cosby wasn't even there. But what I did notice that something was missing. For me, although it's just a trailer, it felt lackluster. And I don't believe anything or anyone hit Heather Gay in the eye. I think Heather Gay may have tripped on something. Heather Gay is very active. It probably was a skiing accident. But of course, they want to lean into who hit Heather Gay. Come on now. Ain't nobody hitting Heather Gay. However, sidebar, Heather Gay, the butt? During that scene when she was pumping, I was like, okay, get Heather Gay. Hope you get a man real soon. But here's the thing. I've been a big advocate for Salt Lake City since the beginning. I've been watching it since the beginning. I know it's only their 3rd season, but we've been talking and watching the show unlike some people. There are still people that don't like the show, haven't gotten into the show, but I have. And I don't believe that Mary Cosby was the end-all, be-all of Salt Lake City. It was a nice, out-of-place character to be a part of the show that we didn't know that we needed. But I wasn't excited. I wasn't one of those people that was waiting for the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City premiere or trailer. I was just like, okay, when it comes, it comes. Would I have preferred Potomac? Probably. But I hear Potomac is coming very soon. Very, very soon. But the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City trailer, for me, the highlights was Dana, I believe it's how you pronounce her name. Her saying to Jen Shaw that you better be nice to me if you want me to put money on your effing books.
Don't get in my mother face. If I were you, I'd be real nice right now, especially if you want some money on your books.
That's what stood out to me in that moment. Yes, there seems to be more drama between Meredith Marks and Lisa Barlow. But Lisa Barlow technically is in the center of the ladies, which says to me that she has most of the drama again this season. I have to say, since season 1, Lisa Barlow, at that reunion, that's when all of the drama, when everything started to center around Lisa. Because during season 1, you really didn't focus on Lisa. It was really about the woman that married her step-grandfather and Jen Shaw. However, I do believe Jen Shaw was very important for season 1 and season 2. But here's the cringeworthiness of this season. We know how it ends. Jen Shaw admits to defrauding elderly people of millions of dollars. But we are going to watch her blame Stuart Smith this season. We're going to see her deny any involvement and claim her innocence. And we already know how this ends. So it's so hard for me to sit here and watch an entire season of Jen Shaw talking about how innocent she is. However, I will say this. Very much like last season, they didn't focus too heavily on what Jen Shaw was going through in regards to her legal woes, which goes back to Beverly Hills. And I said, if we didn't have Garcelle and Sutton last season asking the questions, then it would have been sort of brushed over. It would have been. But here we are. The season 3 trailer was okay for me. Will I be watching? Yes. Will I be doing a watch party? Probably. Will I be recapping? Yes. I was on the fence about even recapping the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, but here we are. I know you guys wanted to hear my thoughts on this latest Aspen episode because they've been leading us up to this Aspen situation for months now, even before the season began. So let's get into the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I look forward to the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. As I said to you before, we'll talk more about it once the season premieres. But other than that, it's a small cast, by the way. It's a small cast of women, 5 housewives, but we are going to get 3 friend ofs. Angie Harrington is back. I have to say, Angie, she's tried since season 1 to be a full-timer on this show. Last season, she came in hot, and I was like, okay, maybe. I'm not sure what she's going to bring this season. I don't know how I feel about the other ladies until I see them play out. But Dana, that moment really stood out to me in the trailer. And for a friend of to have a moment in the trailer, I was like, okay, we shall see. We shall see, because we are going to need a replacement for Jen Shah. She's being sentenced in a couple of months in New York City. So we're going to need someone to replace her. And I just don't think it's ever good to just have 5 housewives. We've seen it recently. It has not worked. But we have a bunch of housewives in the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and that's not working because we have a bunch of housewives with no storylines. So as I said to you before, the Aspen trip, we've been leading up to this. At this point, people are just like, I'm done with Beverly Hills. I know a lot of you are just tired of all of the things that have come out from Beverly Hills. As you know, we've been reporting on all the offline things that have been happening on this show. And that has been tiresome, that it makes it so hard to watch this season. So let me just start from the top. So this episode is called Altitude Adjustment, because Aspen. So Dorit and Kyle discuss Rinna's reactions. And here's the thing, and I've said this before during my recaps of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, I feel as if, and I've heard rumors, that these ladies, specifically the Fox Force flunkies, get together before the season begins and tries to plot and plan what their stories will be. They do their own side production conversation. Okay, and who they're going to focus on, allegedly. So, I felt like that in this moment they were trying to play up Rinna's situation and Rinna's reactions. Look, I believe Rinna, and I would never downplay Rinna's emotion and reactions to the loss of her mom. Lois was a lovable person. And that was her mom. You know what I mean? So I definitely believe that Rinna is feeling the loss of her mom. But you also may recall Rinna blasted production saying that she wishes that they would show her grieving process more. So it's interesting that we're starting to see some of that, seeing her open, some of Lois's things and whatnot. That's real. If you've lost someone in your life, that moment, going through those things, trying to figure out what you're going to do with this, memories, all of that. And I have to say this. The fact that her husband, I believe on the husband's tomb, it says, I did it my way, and her tombstone is going to say, me too. That's cute. It's cute. Lois, rest in peace. Lisa Rinna. I did find it interesting in that scene that Lisa Rinna says that she goes to therapy. It's not lost on me when I said, she is going to therapy? You might need to find a new therapist, because I just don't feel like it's working for you, at least not with this particular therapist. And we're big on therapy. Get you some. But Rinna, you might want to seek therapy somewhere else. Anyways, so Dorit and Kyle had that conversation about Rinna and her reactions, and they also believe that Sutton doesn't articulate herself well. Yeah, I can agree with that. Do I think that Sutton is clumsy with her words? Well, I think we all can be clumsy with our words. No one is perfect, because also people's reaction to what you're going to say isn't always going to be favorable. Sometimes people that love me here don't like what I have to say about something. But I don't necessarily believe that Sutton is truly clumsy with her words. If anything, we're starting to see that Diana New Money Jenkins, I did a whole separate video talking about Diana and all of the rumors that bloggers have been talking. She sent out cease and desist left and right. Those cease and desists have been burnt up. People don't care. They're speaking out and saying their own thing. Good for y'all. I just can't wait to not talk about Diana Jenkins on the show. She brings nothing. We will get back to her. So, okay. Diana and Garcelle hang out. already back to her. I have to say, watching Diana and Garcelle together, I really don't believe that Garcelle was guarded with her. I think very much like myself, I'm not one to just be friendly with every single person that I meet. I protect my energy all the time because not everyone deserves your friendship. Your politeness is one thing. But she's like, oh, I feel like you're the most guarded one. Really? And Garcelle says, I really wasn't guarded with her until I saw her behavior towards one of my very good friends. But they hang out together. She arrives in her jumpers backwards. These rumors about Diana, and I'm not talking about the prostitution situation. I'm talking about, oh, is she medicated or anything like that? Like, look, I've gone out with my shirt on backwards. I mean, like inside out. So, and I'm sure, depending on an outfit, but doesn't she have people that dress her? Isn't she that level of money? Doesn't she have people that dress her? And okay, I don't know about Diana. I'm ready for her to go, to be honest with you. But they hang out and they seem to have a good time. They seem to be getting along really well in this moment. But Diana says, I feel if Sutton was here, this couldn't happen. But I don't believe that. I believe that you are allowing that. I don't believe that Garcelle allows that. However, her good friend Cherie says that, oh no, was it Cherie? No, Cherie did warn Garcelle that she feels like her friendship with Sutton is affecting her friendship with the other ladies. And Crystal agreed with that as well. And it might be true. But you know what? At the end of the day, the one true friendship that I see on this show and off this show is Garcelle and Sutton. And if the rest of the group feels that way, good luck. Because at the end of the day, this is going to be a lifelong friendship. And I much rather a lifelong friendship than a coworkership that we have on this show. Because a lifelong friendship, to me, with one person is a lot more important than fake friendships with the Fox Force flunkies or even with Crystal. Sorry, Crystal. Even though I think Crystal... No. What happened to those 14 fleeing? What happened to the fleeing 14? You know that's going to come up at the reunion. The fleeing 14, and I'm sure I already can hear her response. Her response is, well, 11 of them came back. Okay, girl. They fled for a reason. But we'll move on. So Diana and Garcelle have that moment. Whatever. I don't believe it's on a real... I don't trust Diana when she says that she's good with you. And we see exactly what I'm saying at the end of this episode. You can't trust that with Diana because when you think that you've moved on, you truly haven't. Lisa and Harry, we have that scene where Lisa and Harry are going through Lois's things. And like I said to you before, I do believe that this loss, especially with such a dynamic and lovable and big personality that Lois was, I can see how that loss would affect Renna. Even Renna, who people believe do not have feelings, but just the whole family dynamic. There's just certain personalities, if you lose them in this lifetime, that sucks an energy. There's a missing puzzle in the family. And I believe that's what Lois did for that family. You know what I mean? And I believe Harry Hamlin, God forbid, they lose him. I think he also was a crucial part of the glue that keeps their family together. Okay. Kyle and Mauricio are practicing their golfing, but they are also talking about their trip. So their Aspen trip. Look, very much like Bethany, we have to remember Mauricio, when he first started, he worked with Rick Hilton. Then he left Rick Hilton, which caused a family drama, and started the agency. At every opportunity, they are promoting the agency. As you also know, they are getting their own Netflix show about real estate. I'm here for it because I love real estate. Hopefully, it will focus more on real estate and not on Kyle and the family, because I'm not interested. I love Mauricio. I don't mind that Mauricio is going on this trip, because you know why Mauricio is going on this trip? It's not to be on TV. It's not. He wants to go ski. He's going to help Kyle with the dog. And he's promoting his properties over there, because the ladies are going to be staying at one of his rental properties. Good for Mauricio. I can't be mad at him. I don't think Mauricio is desperate for the spot like Sergio. We will talk about Sergio during my Real Housewives of Dubai recap, which will be coming out after this one. So they're talking about that. They're also talking about how Garcelle and Sutton unfollowed Erika and on Instagram. And we talk more about this later in the episode. Yeah, I can see how people feel like it's immature. It's so, like, why would you unfollow someone, especially in this age of muting people? I love to mute someone, but I'm very particular about who I follow because I want to see the people that I want to see. I'm not trying to follow everybody named Mama. I don't follow a lot of the housewives either. Only reason why I follow certain housewives now is because I do want to see what they're posting. But don't be surprised if I unfollow them. Look, don't get too close to the sun. That's what the housewives are. Don't get too close. I always try to keep a very professional distance because I like to be able to talk about these women without them in my DMs. Just saying. But anyways, okay, so we have that scene, nothing seen, whatever. So Dorit is packing for the Aspen trip. Dorit, of course, is talking about everything that she's gone through. Again, her storyline for the season. I don't want to continue to bash Dorit for her storyline this season. It is what it is. It's not going to change. I feel like Dorit should either be demoted or removed next season. She doesn't bring anything. Not sure what happened to Dorit. I've never really been a big fan of Dorit, but I haven't minded Dorit. Dorit's real story is not what she's sharing on the show. It is what it is. I'm tired of watching Dorit and PK. I love her kids, though. Her kids are amazing. They're more entertaining to me. I love seeing her with her kids. Okay? But other than that, whatever. Look, whatever. So Cherie and Garcelle FaceTime, and they're talking about getting ready for the trip and blah, blah, blah. I don't know how people are feeling about Cherie so far. But even in this latest episode, I'm just sort of like, I don't mind Cherie, but I'm not loving Cherie, especially because of, you guys like to, I don't love the term pick me, but I get why certain people are called that. I don't know if that's the issue with Cherie. But I'm looking at Cherie with the side eye because I'm wondering, Cherie, are you really friends with Garcelle? Because it's coming across like we're casual friends. We're not really best girlfriends. And I'm not talking about blind loyalty because I don't want friendships like that. But it's sort of like, really? Anyways. But, there's all kinds of things that you guys say about Cherie. So Cherie FaceTimes with Garcelle, but then Garcelle FaceTimes with Crystal. And this is where the $750,000 earrings, which are now valued at $1 million in regards to the earrings that were bought by Tom Girardi with victims' funds. There really is no arguing this. This was literally bought with victims' funds. And Erika was fighting to keep them. Since then, she's had to turn them over. And I did see the article because, I'm fair. I just haven't had time to do a video on it. But since we're talking about Erika, we can talk about it here. That $5 million fraud lawsuit, she has won in that. I don't think our issue with Erika is whether or not she was the one stealing from victims herself. Yes, we talked about her level of possibly knowing. But in a court of law, that I'm not an attorney. I like to pretend to be one here on YouTube. However, just because someone is clear doesn't necessarily mean that they're necessarily innocent. It means that the other side did not have enough evidence to prove that that is what it was. Not to say that's what's happening here. Again, not an attorney, didn't see all the facts, did not follow all the legal mumbo jumbo and what's going on with that case. But congratulations to her. You won one. Let's see how the rest of these legal situations go. She lost the earrings one. But I think the biggest issue with Erika Jayne is not about whether or not she herself stole from victims. We know it was Tom Girardi. But what people are upset about is the fact that she's fighting, like the earrings, to keep that she shows no sympathy to the victims after being forced to by public pressure to say, I want to see the victims righted. But then in this season, you say that, well, there's some that are possibly lying. Oh, Erika, sometimes you can just not say anything. If you can't say a sympathetic word to the people that have been proven to be defrauded by your husband, then just don't say anything at all. Just don't say anything at all. But again, this one legal case has not cleared Erika from her legal woes. And I saw that she posted on her social media, thank you for all of you that stood by me. Okay, congrats. You're still been very nasty and hateful to your coworkers and to the victims. That hasn't changed. And this upcoming scene where you say that you don't care is just another reason why people have a hard time having your back, having an open mind. And like I said last season, I tried to have an open mind. I went into the season wanting to have an open mind with Erika, but she has proven left and right to be the ice queen that people have claimed her to be. But moving on. So Garcelle and Crystal have that conversation, and Garcelle's like, I have to talk about this on The Real. The Real has now since ended, but they did talk about it on the show. She said, part of my job is talking about pop culture news. Me too, Garcelle. So she said, this is going to come up. I have to share my thoughts. Thankfully, she won't see it until after the Aspen trip. But Crystal, in the moment, she's like, well, if those earrings were bought with victim's son, she needs to give that back. Here's where it gets murky. Some of the things that Erika has in her possession probably was bought with victim's money. However, it's just hard to determine that. So that's why it's even if she wins in court, we don't know for fact whether or not what she has in her possession was bought with victim money. It seems as if a lot of things, he stole millions. Tom Girardi stole millions and now is pretending, allegedly, to not remember anything, to have dementia. How convenient after decades. But like I've said before, he wasn't the only one. He had to have other people help him for years by looking away, by approving loans. He had a lot of help. A lot of help. The group heads to Aspen. Aspen is beautiful. Speaking of Erika, her talking about Aspen, and look, I'm not going to sit here and dog her out for saying Aspen's for the elite. I used to fly here on my private jet. It's disgusting to hear, but is it not the truth about the people that go to Aspen, the people that live in Aspen, that vacation in Aspen, have money? So I'm not going to fault her for that. It's still disgusting to see her say it, but she's been saying a lot of disgusting, money, superficial things on this show, especially this season. And we're just like, and I know some of you are thinking, it's Beverly Hills. I'm not surprised. I'm not. And some of you love it because of that. So one of the things that we love, I love looking at property. I love seeing both the rental and Kyle's home. Kyle just bought a home in Aspen. She talks about how Kathy hasn't stayed there. I've only bought it a couple of years, and Kathy is truly a mess. Kathy is truly a mess. I think Nikki was the one who told Kyle, it's like her leaving her at the airport is like leaving a baby on the curb. Kathy. See, the thing is with Kathy Hilton, she has moments of just great wisdom, and then she comes out with something else, and she's like, she is so quirky. So quirky. Anyways, so we get to see the Aspen areas and things like that, and one of the Fox Forest flunkies, Dorit, arrives at the Kyle's Aspen home, and she's not arriving by herself. But Lisa Rinna comes out and she's just like, Dorit's here. Mind you, Garcelle, Sutton, all of them are behind her. It's just like, the Foxtrot, they have their favorites. They have their favorites, and we already knew that. So Kathy arrives as well. Kathy is high maintenance. Kathy has her pillow. I don't know if I saw a box fan. I'm sure the box fan is probably there already. Maybe she sent it ahead of herself. But Kathy is high maintenance, and Kyle is always having to cater to her. I have to say, I was hoping to see more of that interaction this season because that made Kyle a lot more likable. However, I feel as if Kyle this season is too much producing. Even in this episode, she's trying to stir the pot. So why did you unfollow Garcelle? Why did you and Sutton unfollow her? And then she gets upset when Sutton says, well, I did it as a joke. And then she's like, well, I'm tired of this fakeness and that. Like, Kyle, sit down. Like, you've become so unlikable. So unlikable. It's hard to even watch you these last couple of seasons. I've never been one of those people that are like, oh, I can't stand Kyle. But since, I think it was the last season or the previous season, I've been slowly just been so turned off by Kyle Richards. But we shall see. I'm still keeping an open mind. I know a lot of people are waiting to see how, why, what, where, what happened with Kathy Hilton during this Aspen trip, where she is sending a message on Instagram to her husband, "Save me." All right. So the ladies are hanging out at Kyle's. Mauricio is there. He's barbecuing and doing all things. Speaking of Kathy, she's like, "Can we roast the corn?" Crystal, these are the ones that I truly enjoy. Crystal, we're boiling it. Don't listen to Kathy. We're boiling it. It's like Mauricio doesn't know what to say to Kathy. Mind you, that's his family. We're like, we're boiling it. No, Crystal's like, we're boiling it. Okay? All right. So we have that, and the group is playing this Ouija board game, and sidebar, Diana Jenkins is staying in a separate thing. She says, it's better. It's better if I stay in my own. I'm high maintenance. I don't want to cause issues for everybody else. Good girl. I don't know if it's just that, y'all. It might be other reasons. It might be the same reason why she put on that jumpsuit backwards. Why she likes to have a separate room, a separate place. It's not just because she's high maintenance. It might be other things. I don't know, but other things. Anyways, who knows? Here's the thing. I don't blame her in one sense, because it's like, yeah, I want my comforts, but that's me. Moving along. So the group is playing this Ouija board game, and this is Kyle producing a moment, trying to stir the pot. And literally Dorit says it in her confessional. Why is Kyle asking these questions? She is literally stirring the pot. She is. And it's getting annoying, Kyle. It's one thing to push, so that we can get conversation going, so it's not a boring trip. So it's not like being at Monique Samuel's lake house, where we're all just sort of like, I get that, but we need to pass the work around, because the fact that you're constantly stirring the pot is becoming tiresome. Well, it does lead to us talking about why Sutton and Garcelle unfollowed Erika. And Garcelle was not afraid of Erika. She was like, well, I unfollowed you because I had an emotional reaction to you calling me a liar. And Erika was like, well, because I feel like you were lying to me. And Garcelle's like, well, yeah, I brought it up to Dorit, Kyle. However, I brought it up to you. And she was like, when? Remember when we went out for drinks? She got real quiet then. And then the conversation leads from Garcelle's issues with Erika to Sutton's issues with Erika. Sutton originally says that she unfollowed Erika because she was joking. It was like a joke between her and Garcelle. I don't get it. Whatever. However, it really turns into a beat on Sutton. This season has been countless weeks in every single episode of beating on Sutton. But Sutton's sitting there almost in tears. And these are the moments where I'm like, this is why she needs Garcelle. Because all of these ladies are just sitting there watching it happen and not stepping in. So Sutton has a big issue with the fact that Erika called her a see you next Tuesday. And then Diana, when not even necessary to say anything, she's like, because you are. Really? You didn't have to say anything. And look, we have to remember, and I think if we don't remember what's happened throughout the season, we probably would forget. Sutton apologized to you. We shouldn't have an issue right now. But as soon as Diana says that, her and Erika just start laughing. She wants so desperately to be a part of this friend group. I don't know why, and I know you're thinking, she has money. She doesn't need to. It's not about money for people. When they want to be a part of groups, or if they want to be on TV, it's not about that. It's their ego that they're trying to feed. It has nothing to do with money. You can have all the money in the world and be the most insecure, poor-minded, terrible individual. It doesn't matter. And I know a lot of people think, well, once I have this amount of money, I'm going to be different. No. Money doesn't change you. It doesn't. It shows who you really are. moving on. So this conversation from Garcelle and Erika leads to Sutton and Erika, then to Sutton and Diana. And Diana decides to really go in. And then she decides that she's leaving. Sutton's not even saying anything to her, but you keep saying that, oh, I feel like Sutton's slithery and she's this terrible person and she came after me, when I was literally dying and bleeding. And Sutton's just sitting there just like, oh. Mind you, Sutton did apologize for their interaction. I believe it was at Kyle's house. And then Diana's just like, you know what, why are you leaving? No one's saying anything to you. No one's attacking you. But she redirects it. And Sutton literally is in, like, she doesn't want to cry, but she's like, you can see she wants to bawl. She wants to bawl. I'm tired of everyone focusing so much on Sutton. I believe it's going to shift because, as you know, the Aspen trip is going to be more about Kathy Hilton and what was said. I don't know if it was caught on camera. It will be interesting. You know, we're straight shooters. If Kathy Hilton did what they're claiming she did do, well, pow, 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 pow. Kathy, you're going to get it. And I'm not going to excuse it. We have forgotten about the whole Precious Lizzo situation. But we also don't forget the things over the years. We did a whole video talking about Kathy Hilton, her children, and things like that, and the problematic things that they said over the years. But there's always room for forgiveness when necessary. We shall see if we will be able to forge that amount of forgiveness for Kathy Hilton. Can we forge that amount? You know what I forgot? If you follow me on Twitter, I said to you I was going to do a review where I was going to review it like I was an Erika fan or a Foxworth Flunky fan. I just can't do it. Especially after this week of reporting on all of this cyber attack on Garcelle's son, and then Diana Jenkins sending out cease and desist, and Lisa Rinna talking about I'm taking this down. It did nothing, and I couldn't. I didn't have it in me. I didn't have it in me. But as always, guys, I know we're not doing our live chat. I know that we're not having callers, which is fine. This way we can have the conversation in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts. What did you think of the episodes? How are you feeling about the season? Are you ready for the season to be over? What question would you ask some of the ladies? That's one thing that we haven't done. And I want to hear from you guys in the comment section. You know how Andy always asks the question about what would you want to ask the ladies at the reunion? Let's start that thread in the live chat. Well, not the live chat, in the comment section. Let me know what you would want to ask the ladies. Let me know who you are, where you're watching from, and the question you would want to ask the ladies. And then maybe we can ask it next week or the week after. Guys, as always, I appreciate you all being here. Thank you for your well wishes, your warm hugs, and your telling me to enjoy my vacation. Is it ever really a vacation? Especially because here we are working. It's okay, because I love what I do. I do. Guys, let's continue this conversation. Let's continue this conversation below. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. Thanks for watching.